when an exhausted single mother collapses on a red-eye flight, a reclusive billionaire tech CEO discovers she's the combat pilot who must save them all, igniting a collision of class, dignity, and second chances that will transform them both forever. The fluorescent lights hummed like dying insects. Maya Chen, 32, stood at the back of the priority boarding line, her 5-year-old daughter Emma's hand clasped tight in hers. Maya's uniform, navy blue polyester from her hotel housekeeping shift, still smelled faintly of industrial cleaner. Her eyes burned. 72 hours, 3 jobs, 4 hours of sleep total. Emma tugged her sleeve. "Mommy, are we really going in the front?" Maya's stomach twisted. The ticket had been a miracle. A last-minute error fare she'd found at 3 a.m. during her gas station cashier shift. First class. One way to Houston for her father's emergency surgery. $287 instead of $1,200. "Just for today, baby," Maya whispered, pulling their battered rolling suitcase forward. Behind them, a wave of Tom Ford cologne and Italian leather announced itself before its owner spoke. "Excuse me." The voice was granite wrapped in silk. "This line is for first class." Maya turned. He stood 6'2", maybe 38, in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her car. Dark hair swept back, jaw carved from stone, eyes the color of storm clouds, the kind of handsome that knew it. Alexander Hunt, though she wouldn't learn his name until later, held a phone in one hand, impatience radiating from every pore. "I know," Maya said quietly, showing her boarding pass. His eyes flickered to it, then to her uniform, then to Emma's scuffed Velcro sneakers. Doubt crystallized in his expression. "There must be some mistake." "There isn't." Maya's voice stayed level, but her free hand trembled. She'd fought too hard for this ticket. Emma stepped forward, craning her neck up at the tall man. "My grandpa is sick. We have to help him." Something shifted in Alexander's face, a micro-expression, gone before it fully formed. He stepped aside without another word, but Maya felt his gaze follow them down the jetway like a spotlight on her inadequacy. The first-class cabin glowed warm and golden, real wood accents, cream leather seats that looked wider than Maya's twin bed. A flight attendant, with perfect teeth, smiled too brightly. "Miss Chen, seat 8A, right up front. Can I bring you champagne?" "Water, please." Maya settled Emma by the window, buckling her in with practiced efficiency. "Apple juice for her?" Emma pressed her face to the window, breath fogging the glass. "Mama, look, the wing is right there." Maya's chest constricted. "Don't look at the wing. Don't think about wings." Alexander Hunt appeared in the aisle, his carry-on sleek and minimal. He paused at 8B, directly beside them. Of course. The universe had a sense of humor. He stowed his bag without acknowledgement, settled into his seat, and immediately opened a laptop that probably cost more than Maya's monthly rent. The screen glowed with complex financial charts. Emma leaned over. "What's that?" "Work," Alexander said, not looking at her. "What kind of work?" "The important kind." Maya placed a gentle hand on Emma's shoulder, pulling her back. "Sweetie, let the man." "It's all right," Alexander interrupted, though his tone suggested it wasn't. He glanced at Emma, then back to his screen. "I run a company." "Like a lemonade stand?" For the first time, the corner of his mouth twitched. Almost a smile. "Almost human." "Bigger than that." "How much bigger?" "Emma," Maya warned softly. But Alexander closed his laptop halfway. He studied Emma with what might have been curiosity. "We make technology that helps airplanes talk to each other, so they don't crash." Emma's eyes went wide. "You keep planes safe?" I try. My mama used to fly planes, Emma announced proudly. She was in the Navy. She's a hero. The words landed like grenades in the quiet cabin. Alexander's eyes snapped to Maya. Really looked at her, for the first time. She felt exposed, every exhausted line of her face suddenly visible under his scrutiny. That's enough, baby, Maya murmured, reaching for the in-flight magazine, desperate for camouflage. Navy pilot? Alexander's voice had changed, softer, genuinely interested. Maya kept her eyes down. A long time ago. What did you fly? The question hung between them. Maya's hands tightened on the magazine, knuckles whitening. It doesn't matter anymore. The cabin lights dimmed. The aircraft pushed back from the gate. Maya felt the familiar rumble through the floor, and her body remembered everything. Muscle memory she'd tried to bury under years of alarm clocks and overdue bills. Beside her, Emma counted the lights outside. Alexander had reopened his laptop, but wasn't typing. He was watching her in his peripheral vision. FA-18s, Maya said suddenly, quietly, surprising herself. Super Hornets, carrier ops. Alexander turned fully. That's... He paused, searching for the right word. Extraordinary. It was. Why did you leave? The plane accelerated down the runway. Maya closed her eyes as the nose lifted, feeling the precise moment the wheels lost contact with Earth. Freedom and terror in equal measure. Because I got pregnant, she said, opening her eyes. And the father decided a 24-year-old fighter pilot with a baby wasn't worth sticking around for. The words came out harder than intended. The Navy was understanding, but deployments and single motherhood don't mix. So I resigned my commission. Emma had fallen asleep against the window, exhausted from the day. Alexander was quiet for a long moment. That must have been the hardest thing I've ever done. Maya's laugh was bitter. Losing the sky, or raising her alone while working 3 jobs. Yes, to both. She hadn't meant to say any of it. The altitude made her lightheaded. Or maybe it was just being airborne again, this close to the flight deck. Memories pressing against her ribs. I'm sorry, Alexander said, and he sounded like he meant it. Maya nodded, not trusting herself to speak, and pulled the thin blanket over Emma's sleeping form. Maya jerked awake to the flight attendant's hand on her shoulder. The cabin was dark, except for reading lights. Her head felt stuffed with cotton. Ma'am, are you all right? You were moaning in your sleep. Maya's face burned. Several passengers stared. Across the aisle, a woman in pearls and Chanel whispered to her husband, eyebrows raised in judgment. I'm fine, Maya mumbled. Sorry. But she wasn't fine. Her vision swam. When had she last eaten? Yesterday afternoon? The gas station coffee this morning didn't count. She'd given Emma her own dinner, the sandwich from the hotel break room. Alexander leaned closer, voice low. When did you last sleep? I'm okay. That wasn't the question. Emma stirred, reaching for Maya's hand. Mama? I'm here, baby. Maya forced steadiness into her voice, but the cabin tilted sideways. She gripped the armrest. You're not fine, Alexander said flatly. He pressed the call button. Don't. The flight attendant appeared. Alexander's voice shifted into something commanding. She needs food. Whatever you have. And orange juice. Now. I don't need. Maya started. Yes, you do. His eyes locked on hers. When's the last time you put yourself first? The question was a knife between her ribs. Maya's throat tightened dangerously. The flight attendant returned with a fruit plate, a sandwich, and juice. Alexander took it from her, set it on Maya's tray table himself. Eat, he said. Not unkind, just absolute. Maya's hands shook as she picked up the sandwich. Pride warred with hunger. Hunger won. Maya was halfway through the sandwich, when the woman in Chanel appeared in the aisle, ostensibly heading to the bathroom. She paused at their row, her perfume overwhelming. "Excuse me." Her voice dripped condescension. "But some of us are trying to rest. If you can't afford first class, perhaps you should consider coach next time." They're more accommodating to disruptions. Maya froze, sandwich halfway to her mouth. Emma sat up, rubbing her eyes. "My mama works harder than anybody." "I'm sure she does, sweetie," the woman said with poisonous sweetness. "But there are standards." "The only standard being violated here," Alexander cut in, his voice ice and razors, "is common decency. Return to your seat, now." The woman's face flushed. "Do you know who my husband is?" "I don't care if he's the Pope." "Sit down." The woman retreated, sputtering. Other passengers quickly looked away. Maya felt Alexander's hand briefly touch her shoulder, so quick she might have imagined it. "Thank you," she whispered. "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did." His jaw was set. "People like her." He trailed off, something personal flickering in his expression. "She's wrong. About you." Maya met his eyes. In the dim cabin light, they looked almost gentle. "Why do you care?" Alexander opened his mouth, closed it, looked at Emma, now wide awake and watching him with her enormous brown eyes. "I'm not sure," he admitted, "but I do." 20 minutes later, the plane hit rough air. The seatbelt sign chimed on. Maya felt it before the announcement, the subtle shift in engine pitch, the way the airframe shuddered. Emma grabbed her hand. "Mama?" "Just bumps, sweetie, baby, like a road with potholes." But the turbulence intensified. Overhead bins rattled. A carry-on bag shifted. The cabin lights flickered once. Maya's body went into hyper-alert. Her eyes tracked every sound, every movement. She knew this aircraft. Boeing 737-800. Twin-engine, narrow body. She knew its flight characteristics, its tolerances, its breaking points. This was bad turbulence, but manageable. Until it wasn't. The plane dropped suddenly, 50 feet in a heartbeat. Screams erupted. Masks didn't deploy, but the baggage compartment above row 12 burst open. A heavy suitcase tumbled out, striking a passenger in the head. An elderly man collapsed into the aisle. "Someone help!" his wife shrieked. "He has a heart condition." The flight attendants were strapped in their jump seats, procedure requiring them to stay seated during severe turbulence. Passengers panicked. The plane bucked again. Maya unbuckled. "Ma'am, please remain seated." A flight attendant called out, but Maya was already moving, using the seats for support, muscle memory guiding her through the unstable cabin. She'd walked destroyer decks in 30-foot swells. This was nothing. She reached the elderly man, checked his pulse. Rapid, thready. His lips were blue. "He's having a cardiac event," she announced, her voice cutting through the chaos with military precision. "I need the AED. Now." A flight attendant stared at her, frozen. "Now," Maya commanded. The attendant unfroze, retrieving the automated external defibrillator. Maya ripped open the man's shirt, applied the pads, her hands steady despite the aircraft's violent movements. "Clear." The machine analyzed. Advised shock. Maya delivered it. The man gasped, eyes flying open. The turbulence eased. The plane steadied. Maya stayed with him, monitoring vitals, speaking calmly to his wife until the captain announced they were diverting to Dallas. When Maya finally returned to her seat, the entire first-class cabin was staring. Alexander looked at her like he'd never seen her before. "Who are you?" he asked quietly. Maya buckled Emma back in, kissed her daughter's forehead. "I'm just a mom," she said, but they both knew that was a lie. The plane touched down smoothly. Paramedics boarded immediately, taking the elderly man on a stretcher. His wife clutched Maya's hand, crying. "You saved him. You saved my Harold." Maya squeezed back. "He's strong. He'll be okay." As passengers deplaned, a pilot emerged from the cockpit. Captain Mitchell, silver-haired, weathered face, the bearing of someone who'd logged 30,000 hours. "Who provided medical assistance?" he asked. Maya raised her hand. "I did, sir." He studied her. His eyes went to her hands, the hands that had worked the AED with clinical precision. "Military?" he asked. "Was. Navy. Lieutenant Commander." His expression changed. Respect. Recognition. "What'd you fly?" "Super Hornets. Carrier qualified." A small smile. "Hell of a landing earlier. Might have been better than mine." Maya laughed, the sound surprising her. "I doubt that, sir." "Captain Mitchell," he corrected. Then, quieter. "Thank you. For him. For keeping everyone calm." He returned to the cockpit. Maya gathered their things, Emma heavy in her arms, asleep again. Alexander appeared at her elbow. "The airline's putting everyone up in a hotel." "But," he hesitated, "I have a car coming, and a suite at the Four Seasons. Multiple bedrooms. If you'd rather not wait for hotel vouchers." Maya's instinct screamed, "No, don't accept charity, don't owe anyone, don't get close." But Emma was so tired, and Maya was so exhausted. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you do that?" Alexander looked at Emma, then at Maya. Something vulnerable crossed his face. "Because 8 years ago, I had a panic attack on a plane, a complete meltdown, and a stranger in coach, a grandmother with kind eyes, talked me through it, for 2 hours, held my hand, didn't judge, just helped." His voice roughened. "I never got to thank her, so maybe this is paying it forward." Maya searched his face for deception, found only truth. "Okay," she whispered. "Thank you." The suite was obscene. 3 bedrooms, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Dallas. A living room, bigger than Maya's apartment. Emma was asleep in one bedroom within minutes, tucked under Egyptian cotton sheets. Maya stood in the living room, feeling like an imposter. Alexander emerged from the kitchen with 2 mugs of tea. "You should sleep." "Can't." She accepted the mug. Too wired. They sat on opposite ends of a cream sofa. The city glittered below them, tiny and fragile. "So," Alexander said, "hotelier, gas station attendant, and something else." Maya smiled despite herself. "Barista, Tuesday and Thursday mornings before my housekeeping shift. 3 jobs. 4, sometimes. I pick up catering gigs when I can." "And Emma's father?" "Gone. He sends a card on her birthday sometimes. That's it." Alexander was quiet. Then, "My father left too, when I was 9. Said my mother and I were holding him back from his real life." His fingers tightened on the mug. "I built Hunt Technologies from nothing to prove I didn't need him. 60-hour weeks. 80, sometimes. I have an apartment I barely see, and employees who fear me more than respect me." "Do you like your life?" Maya asked. The question seemed to startle him. He turned to look at her, really look. "No," he said finally. "I don't think I do." "Then why live it?" "Because it's all I know." His voice was raw. "And because if I stop, I have to face how empty it all is." Maya set down her mug. "I used to fly at supersonic speeds, pull 9 Gs, land on a postage stamp in the middle of the ocean in the dark." Her eyes glistened. "Now I scrub toilets and pray my car doesn't break down. And you know what? I'd do it again. All of it. Because she's worth it. Emma. Everything." Maya's voice cracked. "She's everything." Alexander reached across the sofa, took her hand. His palm was warm, solid. "You're the strongest person I've ever met," he said quietly. Maya laughed, wiping her eyes. "I'm a mess." You're a fighter pilot who saved a man's life while the plane was falling out of the sky. He paused. Extraordinary. Their eyes met. Held. Something electric passed between them. Recognition, attraction, possibility. Maya pulled her hand back gently. I should sleep. Maya. Her name and his voice was different. Careful. Could I have your number? After Houston, I'd like to, I don't know, talk again. She stood, fighting the warmth spreading through her chest. Ask me tomorrow, she said, when you're sure. Maya's father survived surgery. Afterwards, Maya stood in the hospital cafeteria, phone pressed to her ear, listening to her manager at the hotel. I'm sorry, Maya. We needed you this weekend. I have to let you go. Click. Maya stared at the phone. That was 2/3 of her income. Gone. Emma tugged her shirt. Mama, why are you crying? I'm not. Baby. Just tired. But the tears came anyway, hot and unstoppable. There in the middle of the cafeteria. She'd failed. Again. She couldn't keep it together. Couldn't hold the pieces of their life in place. A hand touched her shoulder. Alexander. He'd flown commercial to Houston that morning. Had shown up at the hospital with coffee and breakfast sandwiches. What happened? He asked. Maya told him. Watched his expression harden. What's the hotel's name? It doesn't matter. It matters. His voice was steel. What's the name? She told him. He stepped away, phone to his ear. Maya heard fragments. Owns the chain. Partnership contract. Discrimination lawsuit. He returned 5 minutes later. You're rehired, with a raise and they're apologizing in writing. You can't just, I can, I did. My company has contracts with their corporate parent. They'll make this right, or they'll lose a $15 million deal. Alexander. No. He stepped closer. I spent 10 years building power. Let me use it for something that matters. Emma hugged his leg suddenly, fiercely. Thank you for helping my mama. Alexander looked down at her, and his face transformed. The ice melted. The walls crumbled. He knelt, eye level with the 5-year-old. Your mom helps everyone else. Someone should help her. Emma considered this gravely. Will you help her forever? Alexander's eyes found Maya's. If she'll let me. They walked as the sun set. Emma running ahead to feed ducks. Alexander's jacket was slung over Maya's shoulders. She'd protested. He'd insisted. I want to offer you something, he said carefully. But I don't want you to feel obligated. Maya tensed. What? A job. At Hunt Technologies. We need a safety consultant. Someone who understands aviation systems from a pilot's perspective. It pays, well, 6 figures. Benefits. Normal hours. Maya stopped walking. You're offering me a job because you feel sorry for me. I'm offering you a job because you're qualified. Former military officer. Combat experience. Medical training. Crisis management. You're overqualified, actually. I clean hotel rooms. You save lives. He turned to face her. Maya, you're wasting yourself. Let me give you a chance to fly again. Even if it's from the ground. Pride and hope warred in her chest. I can't accept charity. It's not charity, it's smart business. He pulled out his phone, showed her the job posting. It was real, dated 2 weeks ago. I need someone for this role. You happen to be perfect for it. The timing is just serendipitous. Emma ran back, breathless. Mama. The ducks ate all the bread. And Maya lifted her daughter, holding her close, looked at Alexander over Emma's shoulder. I'll think about it, she said quietly. That's all I ask. Maya had taken the job. The first paycheck made her cry, more money than she'd made in 6 months combined. Emma was in a better school. Their apartment was in a safe neighborhood. Maya slept more than 4 hours a night. And Alexander had become part of their lives. Sunday brunches, Emma's soccer games, Movie nights where Emma fell asleep between them on the couch. They hadn't kissed, hadn't crossed that line, but the tension was unbearable, sweet, terrifying, until everything exploded. Maya was in a board meeting when Alexander's COO, Marcus Sterling, slick, ambitious, resentful, made his move. "I'm calling for a vote of no confidence in Alexander Hunt's leadership," Marcus announced. "His recent distractions have compromised his judgment. Personal relationships with employees. Questionable hirings." He slid a folder across the table. Photos of Alexander and Maya. Emma holding Alexander's hand. The three of them laughing. He's hired his girlfriend's daughter's daycare center as an educational consultant. He's given preferential contracts to companies with no connection to aviation. He's neglecting his duties for, Marcus smiled viciously, domestic fantasies. The board members shifted uncomfortably. Maya's blood ran cold. This was her fault. She'd let them get close, and now Alexander's empire was in jeopardy. Alexander stood, his voice lethal. "You're out of line." "Am I? Show me I'm wrong. Tell them Miss Chen's hiring wasn't personal." The room went silent. Maya stood, every eye turned to her. "You want to question my qualifications?" Her voice was parade ground sharp. "I flew combat missions in 2 theaters. I have an engineering degree from Annapolis. I've logged 3,000 hours in high-performance aircraft. I've saved more lives than you've ruined. So yes, I was hired, and I'm damn good at my job." "That's not the point," Marcus started. "No, the point is you're staging a coup because Alexander started caring about something other than profit margins. Because he became human again. And that terrifies you." She turned to the board. "I'll make this easy. I resign. Effective immediately. You can keep your vote, keep your power structure, but you'll lose the best CEO you'll ever have." She walked out. Alexander followed her into the hallway. "Maya, wait. I'm not letting you lose everything because of me." Tears streamed down her face. "I won't. You think I care about this company more than you?" His voice broke. "More than Emma? You think I want a life without you in it? You built this. I built a prison." He grabbed her shoulders, gentle but desperate. "You showed me what matters, what's real. I love you. I love your daughter. I want Sunday mornings and soccer games and falling asleep on the couch. I want to wake up and have it mean something." Maya sobbed. "You don't know what you're saying. I've never been more sure of anything." He cupped her face. "Let me choose you, please." But Maya wasn't done. She returned to the boardroom. Alexander tried to follow, but she shook her head. This was her fight. "Gentlemen," she said, her voice controlled again. "Before you vote, I need to show you something." She pulled up a file on the presentation screen. Financial records, communication logs. Marcus Sterling has been embezzling company funds for 18 months. He's funneled over $2 million into offshore accounts, and he's been selling proprietary technology to competitors. The board erupted. Marcus went white. "You have no proof." "I have all the proof." Maya's smile was sharp. "You see, Marcus, I'm not just a former pilot. I have a master's degree in cybersecurity. And when I was reviewing our system protocols last week, doing the job you claimed was fake, I noticed anomalies. So I dug deeper." She clicked to the next slide. Bank transfers, emails, irrefutable evidence. "Naval intelligence trained me well," she said quietly. "You tried to destroy the man I love. So I destroyed you instead." Security escorted Marcus from the building. The board voted unanimously. Alexander Hunt would remain CEO, with a promotion for Maya Chen to VP of Aviation Safety and Security. Emma ran across the tarmac, pigtails flying. In Maya, when she began to adjust her daughter's headset, Maya knelt adjusting her daughter's headset. Really, Alexander leaned against his car, watching them, Maya had her pilot's license reinstated. She flew recreationally now. For joy, not duty. And today, Emma's 6th birthday, was her first flight, running through pre-flight checks with muscle memory precision. Alexander walked to the window. "Room for one more?" he asked. Maya smiled. "Always." He climbed in the back. Maya started the engine. The propeller spun, and Emma squealed with delight. They whiffed off, Dallas falling away beneath them. Maya banked left, and the sun caught the wings, turning them gold. "Look, Mama!" Emma pressed her face to the window. "We're flying." "We are, baby." Alexander reached forward, his hand finding Maya's shoulder. She covered it with her own. Below them, the world was small and manageable. Above them, nothing but sky. Maya had lost the sky once. Lost herself. Lost everything she thought mattered. But she'd found something better. Messy, complicated, real. A man who'd learned to be human. A daughter who believed in heroes. And a life that didn't require her to choose between strength and softness. Between flying and falling. Between who she was and who she needed to be. She was done choosing. She could have it all. As they climbed higher, Emma's voice crackled through the headset. "Mama, when I grow up, I want to be just like you." Maya's throat tightened. She looked back at Alexander. Their eyes met, and in his gaze, she saw forever. Sunday mornings, soccer games, falling asleep on the couch. She saw home. "You already are." The plane disappeared into the clouds, 3 hearts beating as one, weightless and free, carrying each other into whatever came next.